Hi, I'm Bart Herbison, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Association, and boy, are you in for a treat this week.
And I'm Bobby Braddock, bald-headed songwriter.
Because the story behind the song for the Tennessean and Tennessean.com, you know, you're one of the greatest songwriters in any genre, in any language. This is,
Well, that's what you say. I don't know, but thank you.
The great Bobby
You're a
Braddock.
good friend.
But we don't all start off successful. And so you've made it to Nashville, you're over at Sony, you're the new kid on the block, you're over there with all these fabulous writers that are burning up the charts, and you hadn't had your big hit yet. So you're trying to figure out how to navigate. It's almost like navigating through social media today.
Right.
Your way for the public to hear what you want to say in your music. So, if I'm remembering this correctly, you started off, you wrote a song called I Love You, but it's I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. You spelled it out.
Yeah, that's true.
And nobody cared about that. But it gave you the idea for your breakthrough moment. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it was a song called I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U, and I just didn't really like the way that it was headed, you know. I mean, I liked the idea, but that gave me the idea of parents spelling out the words they didn't want their kid to hear about the divorce that they're about to go
Spell
through.
it out. Spell it out.
D-I-V-O-R-C-E. That was the song that showed that country music people actually could spell.
You know, life, and if you are tuned to your spirit and cause effect, and one moment leading to another moment, there's a fabulous story here that follows that part of human existence. So, the Spell Out song leads to the idea for a seminal Spell Out song in the history of American music. And you write it, and it's mostly intact, and you've got a melody, but it doesn't seem like anybody cares, so there's another layer. You knew him before, I think, but you go to a guy that ended up being, you know, a songwriting colleague of yours, and you wrote a lot of history together, Curly Putman.
Yeah, he was Tree Publishing Company, which is now Sony, Sony Music. He was Tree Publishing Company's soul country song plugger. And I said, Curly, why is it that we don't have any takers on this song? Because nobody was jumping on board with it. And he said, he said, I think it seems a little bit too happy for such a sad song. I said, you think it needs a new melody? He said, well, just in a couple of places. The last line of the verse and the last line of the chorus.
And isn't that the genius of Curly?
And what I had, looking back on it, it sounded kind of like a soap commercial. What I had was, oh, I wish that we could stop this D-I-V-O-R-C-E. And I said, well, what would you do with it, Curly? And he picked up a guitar, and Curly had this real lonesome sounding singing style. He said, I wish that we could stop this D-I-V-O-R-C-E.
Did the light bulb go over your head?
I said, well, let's put it on tape like that. So then I put down the boom, 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 which the producer left on the record, and we took it over to Billy Sherrill.
Well, I'm going to pause you there.
Okay.
Because the spelling song leads to that vehicle for this seminal song. You knew Curly, but this moment, history shows in retrospect, leads to a different kind of relationship with you. And that takes you guys to Tammy. That takes you to Tammy Wynette.
Right. Well, Billy Sherrill is her producer. And we saw him at a music business function that night, and I told him about the song. We took it over to it, and Billy loved the song, and he cut it on Tammy within 2 or 3 weeks, and within probably 2 or 3 months it was playing on the radio. I want to say this. I told Curly, I said, well, you need to take part of the song, and he said, no, he said, I have a little bit of a reputation, and more people know who I am. He had a hit with a song called Green, Green Grass at Home. And I hadn't had any, I'd had some top 10 things.
This was your first number one.
It was my first number one. And and I thought we should split the song, you know, the writers share on the song, and he didn't want to take it. So we compromised, and he took 25%. We put his name on there. If we'd done that today, probably would split it right down the middle, you know. But
Well,
because the song had been sitting around and nothing happened with it, and Curly made that little change, but that little change made so much difference.
it can.
Yeah.
Is that 25 then songs with Tammy and George follow?
No, I've had 19 cuts by Tammy Wynette and 29 by George
Wow.
Jones. Yeah.
So something leads to something leads to something. Notice those moments in life.
And that song that I started, I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U, ended up finishing it a few years later, and Tammy Wynette recorded that and had it on the album. Yeah.
Love it. What a story behind what a song. DIVORCE. Bobby Braddock for the
Yeah.
Tennessean and Tennessean.com.
That's right. Honestly, I was glad to have it, and it was a great record. I think of the song as being really kind of corny, really.
Let me tell you what. My parents got a divorce. I'm gonna tear up right now every time I hear this song.
Okay.
The song's supposed to make us feel something. I hate to, object to the wisdom of the great Bobby Braddock. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm gonna have to second that, Bobby. That's one of my
I'm just
favorite
saying,
all-time
man.
songs.
Okay, here's one of the greatest songs ever conceived by the man with I don't mean that. Our little boy is 4 years old, quite a little man. So we spell out the words we don't want him to understand, like T-O-Y, or maybe S-U-O, P-R-I-S-E. The words we're hiding from him now, they're the heart right out of me. D-I-V-O-R-C comes finally the day. Me and little J-O-E will be going away. I love you both, this will be pure H-E-double-L for me. Oh, I wish that we could stop this D-I-V-O-R-C. I wish that we could stop this